guys, this is Elsa. Thank you guys for tuning in. I did my first official, what did I call it? My intro video yesterday. And I just realized after I watched it, I forgot to mention a couple things. But just to recap real quick. To start it off today, I want to talk about school. I asked a lot of people out there, parents of children who have achromatopsia, what are things that you would be interested to hear about. So I got a lot of feedback, and a lot of people were talking about school. So I'm gonna first tell you like my school experience, and then let you know the things that I liked or didn't like, or what I recommend for people to know. So for first things first, one thing that I wanted to mention, I think I did a little bit in my other video, but my mom and dad, they had 6 children. The first 5 were born all a year apart, and then 16 years later, I was born. So I'm the baby of the family. I have 3 older siblings. Is it 3? Yes, it is 3. I'm sorry. I have 3 older siblings that have achromatopsia. So my parents already had like experience with, you know, this diagnosis and what to do and everything. So by the time I was born, I was diagnosed pretty early. I don't really remember how young my siblings were when they got diagnosed, but because it already like ran in the family, I was about 6 months when I was diagnosed. And they weren't shocked or surprised or anything, because like I said, I have other siblings that have it too. So for my parents, in a way, it was good because like I said, they already had experience. So I got to see an ophthalmologist right away. I got sunglasses right away, which is very important for people that have achromatopsia to have. It is literally our eyes. We need to have sunglasses, and not just over the counter at the drugstore or at Walmart glasses. Like, you need really dark glasses, and the best place to get really dark tinted glasses is, you know, through a doctor or an ophthalmologist. So anyway, I've had glasses since forever. I was born in 1987, so back then the glasses were really kind of embarrassing. They were really huge. They were loud. I had pink glasses with red frames. So to say I stood out was an understatement. But what I really wanted to talk about was I wasn't allowed to go to pre-K or to kinder because the school in my area didn't feel comfortable taking me in, because I remember too. I think they thought my vision was going to be too much for them, so they just kept saying I was too young. But once, you know, first grade came around, they let me go to first grade. So from first grade to third grade, I don't want to mention what school it was, but I honestly can tell you I did not learn much. From first grade to third grade, all I learned was my letters, my numbers, and how to write my name, and that's pretty much it. For me, like, well, for any child with achromatopsia, I feel like you need not special treatment, but you need more help. Like more one-on-one things, or especially when it's like reading the board. We can't see the board. Even if we stand up and are at least like 2 feet in front of it, we cannot see the board. So usually what they're supposed to do is they have either a teacher's aide or another student write down everything that's on the board and give it to you. But you don't get away with not writing down, you know, what's on the board. You have to copy on your own paper what the other person wrote down for you, since you can't see the board, so that way you still do the work. But it makes it so, like I said, you're still learning what everybody else is learning. But they didn't do that at that school. They kept putting me aside, like, oh, well, you know, we're gonna do this with the rest of the class, but we'll help you later. And they just never got around to it. That's also another thing too. I was very shy growing up. Very shy. Like, I would never advocate for myself or speak up, or if I didn't like something, or if I needed help especially, I would never ask for help. So that's something that I think is very important, that you all teach your children to speak up, speak for themselves. You need help, ask for it. If you can't do something or you need help doing something, ask for it. Don't let them be assertive. Teach them to, you know what I mean? No one's gonna help you unless you ask for help, and no one's gonna know how to read your mind. And I did not learn that, honestly, till like an adult. So I think that's something important that you need to instill in your children at a young age, especially when they're going off to school and you're no longer their voice, or you know what I mean? They're not around you all the time. But anyway, so like I said, from first to third grade, I really didn't learn anything. After that, my parents were always busy because they own a business. So it's not that necessarily that I had a lot of time, but they kind of didn't when it came to like my school things. So they moved me to a different school, and it was a school that was far away. It was in another city. It was 2 hours away. So I had to take the bus, and it was very scary to be taking the bus because, I mean, if you've never been on a bus, it's just scary. I mean, all the kids that were on there were the kids that all had like disabilities. So there were kids that were on wheelchairs, there were kids that were deaf, there were kids that were completely blind. I was one of the very few people that was partially sighted. I went to school with a lot of albino children, or just straight blind children. But I had to take a 2-hour bus ride to school, and then after school was a 2-hour bus ride back home. But this particular school had a program for either blind or visually handicapped students. So this is why they sent me to this school. And honestly, sending me to that school was the best decision my parents could have made. I learned a lot in that school, and I think one of the main things that I took from there was I didn't feel alone anymore. In my other school, I was literally the only person in the entire school that was partially sighted. And it was, I guess, lonely is the word. And when children don't have other children to look at and be like, oh wow, this person's like me, I'm not weird, you know, there's other people like me in the world, it does make you feel very alone, and like you're the strange or weird person, or there's something wrong with you. And children shouldn't feel like that. So don't make them feel that way, by the way, either, please. When you talk about your children, they're listening. Whether you talk around them or right in front of them, or people are asking you questions, please be very mindful of that, okay? I know some people think like the kids aren't paying attention, but believe me, they are. Your kid is not completely blind. Your child, there's nothing wrong with them. We just have something that's missing in our eyes that makes us different. And being different is okay. We are not disabled in a way where we're paralyzed or something. So I feel like a lot of parents think that their children aren't going to be able to do anything. And that's the farthest, thing from reality. We can actually do a lot. We just have to do it a little differently, or it takes us a little bit longer. But anyway, so at this school I learned a lot. I learned to be a little bit more social. I learned a little bit more to ask for help, not so much speak up for myself, which I really wish I would have learned, but I learned to ask for more things. I learned, they would put me in a class with children that had visually impaired problems, and then I would also go to a regular class. So if I was in the regular class and we would have like a substitute teacher. Most of the teachers, when your child goes to school, they should know about your child's eye condition. Whether you tell them or not, they should know about this. It's very important that you bring it up. Also, it's very important that you have something called an IEP. I don't know if it's still called that, but some people associate it with like special ed, but you have to have that in place so your child is protected and your child gets the help that they need. With people with my eye condition, you need to have help. You need to have the teachers, the staff know that you need special things like large print books, bold printed paper. You need darker pens. You need, I don't know what else is out there right now. I'm sure there's a lot of new things that are out there. But they need to know. So I had a lot of trouble with substitute teachers because a lot of them weren't aware that I, had this eye condition. And from first grade to eighth grade, I would wear my sunglasses indoors because the classroom lights are really, really bright and they give you a headache, and it's hard to study or to focus on something when everything around you, it's like so blinding bright. So I wore my sunglasses. At high school, honestly, it was just because I was like embarrassed. I didn't wear my sunglasses indoors, but I did wear them from first to eighth grade. Once I got to high school, that's when the whole contact lenses came out that are, sorry, I got a message, that are like sunglasses. They don't do what sunglasses do on the outside, but on the inside, like indoors, they really do help a lot and they make a difference, and I highly recommend them. Sorry, my daughter's in the background. But anyway, when I went to middle school, it was a little more difficult, obviously, like learning wise, but something that I really enjoyed from it was learning like about, I think I mentioned it before in my last video, learning about Braille, learning how to walk with a walking stick. I really, really like that because they also, for the life of me, I can't remember what her title is, but I had this teacher, this amazing teacher. Her name was Miss Friedman. I don't know if the school system sent her or how that worked, but she would come to the school, I don't remember if it was once or twice a week, and she would take me out of class and work with me with special things like typing on the computer, which I honestly never really got good at. Now as an adult, I don't ever type. I think it was a good experience to learn about it at the time, but it was a little too much for me, so I don't use typing now, but it was a good thing to learn at that time. And also crossing the streets and like walking, learning how to cross streets without relying on the lights. Nowadays they have the lights that makes certain noises when it's red or when it's green, but back then they didn't have that. So I learned how to cross streets by using the cars. When a certain like lane of cars went, that means I can go. The closest to me, the cars closest to me went, then that means I can go. But that's also sometimes dangerous because, a lot of cars don't pay attention, so you have to still be vigilant to make sure there's no cars. But that's what I learned a lot through middle school. And then high school, I was living in Los Angeles, and then I moved to Texas. And in Texas, the schools are very different. Here, that's when I stopped using my sunglasses indoors because I was embarrassed. But I had, like I said, I had the contacts, so that helped. In high school, I did advocate a little bit more for myself. Like a lot of teachers, they see you and they just figure, oh, well, you look normal, you talk normal, you dress normal. Are you sure you have eye condition? And it's very infuriating to have to defend yourself and be like, oh, because I'm just making this up. Like, it's just annoying is what it is. But high school was interesting. I never got so much into the driving thing until a few years later, and that was just because I wanted to do it. I had my dad teach me, and I can't believe I had the courage to do it then. Now I would never drive. Like, I would never drive a car. I have two older siblings, my brothers, that they did drive. And back then it was easier to get a license. I don't know how it is now. But they were able to drive with these glasses. I don't remember what they're called, but they look like glasses, and then they have these little monoculars on each side. And what that does is they're able to see from far away. So you're able to see like the light, or you know what I mean, people or cars. So you're able to get a license that way. I don't know if they make those glasses anymore, but anyway, that's how they were able to get their license. I just drove around my neighborhood. I wouldn't drive in any busy streets, let alone a freeway. But yeah, school was definitely interesting. Like I said, it's very important to teach your children how to speak up for themselves and how to advocate for themselves, because especially in high school, I had a very tough time with teachers, or what are they called? Just teachers that really didn't believe you had anything wrong with you. I remember once I had this, I was in speech class, which was terrible for me because I was super, super shy. So standing up in front of people was not fun for me. But anyway, the first day of class, he wanted me to read the syllabus, and I could not see the syllabus. So I guess nobody informed him that there was a student in the classroom that had that was visually handicapped. So when he called on me to read, I told him, I'm sorry, I can't. And then he looked at me, and of course everybody in the class looked at me, and he's like, why? And I said, well, it's because I can't see it, it's too small. So he had me stand up and explain to him why I didn't want to read, and if I didn't want to read, that I would have to go to the office. He was going to write me up and send it to the office. So I stood up, and in front of the entire class, and understand, it wasn't so much that I was embarrassed about my eye condition. It's just that that's something that's personal. So when you have to stand up and announce it to the world, I feel like it makes everybody judge you or look at you different. And I did not feel comfortable with that. I shared it to people that, you know, I knew, or my friends, but to share it to the whole world, it just felt very, it made me feel very vulnerable. So anyway, I had to stand up in front of the whole class and let everybody know that I had this eye condition and I cannot read you the paper because I cannot see the words on the paper. It is too small. So he didn't believe me. He wrote me up and sent me to the office. And while he was writing me up, I just bursted out crying. And that was the most humiliating and embarrassing moment, I think, of my whole high school history, because everybody saw me cry, and I'm so angry at myself that I let myself cry just because I didn't speak up for myself. So he sent me to the office. I told him what happened. They sent me to the nurse. The nurse was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you went through this. You know what? I can't imagine how embarrassed you are. You can stay here for the rest of class. I'll speak to the teacher. So the following day, when class started, he called me up to his desk, and mind you, he did not apologize for humiliating me. He just told me that the nurse spoke to him and explained to him how I have this eye condition, and until he was just let aware that I have books coming in, I have packets coming in that are large print that are specifically for me. So until then, he won't be calling on me anymore. So not to worry about it. That was it. Not, I'm sorry, or, you know, oh, you should have said something. None of that. Just, okay, you can go back to your seat. So, yeah, I had quite a few experiences like that. But anyway, okay, so that was my school history. One of the things that I really, really, really recommend for school, if you kids don't have this already, like I said, it's the large print books. They are a must, especially because it's so hard for us to read small print. One of the other things that I had during school that I thought was very helpful, I don't know what it stands for, but it's called a cctv. I'm sure they have newer things now, but back in the day, it was basically like a small TV screen, and on the bottom of it, it was like a little tray that had a camera, and then you would slip a paper or a book or anything that you wanted to read underneath it, and on the screen it would magnify it to be huge. So a lot of times when they couldn't get a large print book, or you had the individual worksheets or the packets, we would use that. But when I was little, it was kind of embarrassing to me to be put aside in my own desk away from everybody and have this big old thing that everybody can see. So I was embarrassed about it for a long time until I hit high school. I didn't care anymore because I needed it, and that's how I can get my work done. But when you're young, you do kind of want to be like everybody else, but yeah. Anyway, so I had that, and I did have those glasses, the glasses that I was telling you my siblings were able to get their license with, where it's just glasses and it has little monoculars. I had those, but the majority of the time the teacher would just have a teacher aide or another student write down for me whatever was on the board. Also, like I said, sunglasses are a must. Now as an adult, I don't go to the ophthalmologist for sunglasses. I still go to an ophthalmologist, but I don't get glasses from them anymore, even though insurance covers it, because I found out about Noor glasses, the brand name Noor. They are amazing and they're expensive, but they're totally worth it. These are my older glasses. They're Noor glasses and they're super dark. Like, normal sighted people wear these and they're like, how can you see through them? But this is what I need to function in society. These are my backup glasses. My everyday glasses are these ones. They have these on the side so the sun doesn't go in. And I don't know if you can tell, they're kind of closed up from the top too, and a little on the bottom. So it's almost like goggles, sort of, kind of. But the point is they work. They block out the sun, and this is what I need to function. That's why I have my backup. I rarely lose my glasses anymore, but sometimes when your day gets hectic, it happens. So that's why I have my backup ones. Also, I don't use it so much anymore, but before smartphones, this was my monocular. I couldn't remember what it was called yesterday, but it's called monocular. I save it because it was like ridiculously expensive. But it's to see basically things from far away. I used to use this a lot in school, obviously, to read the board or just read the clock or watch if they're playing a movie or something on the TV that they had in the classrooms and I couldn't see it. I would just use this. But then afterwards, as an adult, I would use this to, if we went to a restaurant or like a fast food place and I was trying to read the menu that they have up, I can't obviously see it, so I would use this. Or I'm crossing the streets and there was no cars, so I couldn't use the cars to help me cross. You know, I would use my monocular to look at the lights, and I memorize what light means what. So I would do that. What else? Now I use my smartphone for everything. That is my monocular. I use it to read anything, see anything, even when I'm at home trying to change the channel from the TV and I can't see the little numbers to see what channel it is or how high or low the volume is. I use my phone. I use my phone for everything. It is a lifesaver. So if you have kids that are teens or preteens and you're thinking, should they get a phone? Yes, please get them a phone. Trust me, it is a life tool that they really, really, really would benefit from. Real quick, this really doesn't have much to do with school, but I was asked this question a lot. How do you match your clothes? Well, let me tell you. I guess because I'm girly, I have a good memory when it comes to clothes. So if I'm out shopping, or when I was younger, people would buy me things, I would ask, what color is this shirt? Or what color are these pants or these shorts? And for whatever reason, you tell me one time, I'll remember. I have a really good memory when it comes to that. But also, once I was a teenager and now as an adult, I like to wear a lot of black. Black is my safe color. Not like a gothic black, like from head to toe black, but a lot of times you'll catch me with at least one article of clothing that's black, because I know black goes with everything. I know white does too, but I like darker colors. I think everybody that has achromatopsia probably likes darker colors. If you ask me what's my favorite color, I will tell you black, because it is my favorite color. I love the color black. It is my safe color. What else? Now that I have children, that's when it makes it a little bit more trickier to match their clothes, because for some reason I can remember my clothes, but once it comes to like retaining more information and memorizing their clothes, it's a lot harder for me. I am blessed because I live in a big house full of family members, so I can always ask, hey, what goes with this? Or hey, my daughter's gonna wear this today. Can you tell me what color bow goes with that? So I'm lucky. Also, I have, I think I mentioned this in the other video, I have a 14-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I have a teenager and a toddler. My 14-year-old, since the time he could speak, basically, has been, you know, like blind people have a seeing eye dog. Well, I would always refer to him as my seeing eye kid, because he helps me with everything. Everything. He helps me with colors. He helps me at the store when I'm trying to find something quick. If I go to a grocery store, I can do all that fine, by the way. For those parents out there are asking, how do you shop? How do you do this? How do you do that? I can do it just like anybody else. Only thing is, it takes me a little longer because my vision isn't as good as yours, so it takes me longer to find certain products. I can always ask someone for like the area or what aisle something is, but you know, there's a lot of options of things. So if I want something specifically, I have to look for it. So if I want to make it a quicker trip, I'll ask my son, hey, can you find me this? Can you find me that? And he'll do it. Even now, you know, I rely on him so much since the world is like computerized now. There's a lot of like doctor's appointments, for example, that you have to sign in either on a tablet or on a computer. I, for the life of me, am not a computer person. Okay, I'm not. I'm getting better at the whole smartphone thing, but as far as like a computer, I'm just, my brain just cannot. I just can't. I can't get it. So my son helps me do all that stuff. When it comes to like government things or certain things that you have to apply for online, he does that for me because I can't do it. I mean, I think if I really forced myself or pushed myself to do it, I'd say I could eventually figure it out. But I have too many things going on. It's just easier sometimes for him just to do it for me. So yeah, and my daughter, my toddler, he always refers to her as his replacement seeing eye kid. So he's funny. He's like, I have such good advice to give her when she's older, or how to help you, or how to get things done quicker. But anyway, so that's, I think, pretty much all I can think of. If I missed something, I'm sorry. But I'm just trying not to make these videos too long so you guys don't get, you know, bored. But yeah, that's pretty much my school history. I did finish high school, but I didn't go to college. I was a mom at 19, so I did the whole mom thing. I did have jobs. I worked as a babysitter. Well, not so much a babysitter. I had like a home daycare basically for many, many years. And honestly, I don't regret it. I enjoyed it so much. Being around children, caring for them, hearing their funny stories. You really can't have a bad day when you have a beautiful little smile smiling at you all the time. Like, I really enjoyed my job. I had to stop working 2 years ago when I got pregnant with my daughter because I had to be on bed rest, and you can't really be on bed rest and take care of a bunch of toddlers and, you know, young people and pick them up from school and help them with homework when you're supposed to be on bed rest. So I stopped working then, but I do miss it. It was so much fun for me. Every day was something different, and it's fun coming up with ideas of things to do, things to keep them entertained. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my school stories. If you have any questions, I'm sorry, somebody let me know that the comment section is turned off on this YouTube thing. I will have my son try to figure it out for me because I don't know how to turn it back on. But yeah, I'll get to it. I don't know when I'm gonna do my next video, but I have to figure out which topic to talk about next. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you learned something or give you some insight about it. All right, bye you guys.